going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Pop Culture Corner. Today, or tonight, I suppose, we're going to. I haven't watched the Thor trailer yet. I was going to do a reaction last night, but I got home and I fell asleep like an old man. And yeah, it just didn't happen. So before we get into it, guys, make sure to smash the like button, share this video with your friends and family, and subscribe for more content like this. Now, if you want to support the channel further, become a member by clicking join below and or sending a super chat while we're live. All of it helps and goes back into the production. Guys, I've seen some pictures, obviously, because I go online, of Gorr, of the God Butcher. Now, in the comics, he looks a lot more menacing than Christian Bale does so far, from what I've seen. Like I said, I haven't seen the trailer yet, so I mean, hopefully he blows my socks off. I don't see that being the case, but I can always hope, right? We can always hope for the best. I know the trailer is like a day old; everyone's already seen it, but I wanted to make sure that I didn't watch it and I watched it with you, my favorite people in the pop culture community. So, without further ado, let's bring it up. Let's bring it up. I'm hitting all the wrong things right now. This is what I wanted. The full screen version. So here we go. Thor, Love and Thunder, the trailer. I'm excited. This is definitely one of the projects I am looking forward to the most, if not out of 2022. And I'm glad that, I'm glad that Jane Foster's coming back. Glad Lady Thor is going to be in it. And I'm glad that the Guardians are going to be in it, the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, I love Chris Hemsworth and Chris Pratt's chemistry. I think it's one of the best on screen, up there with Kevin Hart and The Rock. So let's get into the trailer. This is a reaction and breakdown. So we'll be discussing it throughout. Cool. Let's do it.
Kids, get the popcorn now. Let me tell you the story of the space Viking, Thor Odinson. He was no ordinary man. He was a god. After saving planet Earth for the 500th time, Thor set off on a new journey. Well, he got in shape. He went from dad bod to god bod.
Nice.
And after all that, he reclaimed his title as the one and only Thor. Oh, spoke too soon.
Jane?
The helmet? Woo! So he didn't give. So in the comics, Thor gives the power of Thor to her to save her. Clearly, that's not the case. Maybe not. I don't know.
The old ex-girlfriend.
What's it been, like 3, 4 years?
8 years, 7 months, and 6 days. Take.
Am I sensing feelings?
Well, you're right. The only ones who gods care about
Oh shit!
is themselves.
Oh
So this is
damn!
my vow. All gods will die. I just want to say that was very, very impressive what you did back there.
He's just my first bad guy.
You never forget your first.
Oh shit!
I'm not like the other gods of kill. Because I have something worth fighting for.
Holy shit!
Let's see who you are. I take off your disguise. And flick.
Oh,
Flick too hard, damn it!
Should we help him? And eventually, grape.
Oh my God! Yo! I gotta roll that back. That was a good trailer. That was definitely a good. I enjoyed that a lot. Wow, wow. Um, Gorr is different. Gore's different. Yeah. Yeah, I'll give you that. Gore's definitely I mean, I think his look from the comics would have been a lot cooler in the sense of especially the cosmic story that they're telling. Like this epic, epic, beautiful journey. And to have it menaced with like that comic looking Gore would have been, I think, a lot cooler. But I mean, he looks good. He looks. I mean, the film looks great. Let's run this back.
Kids, get your popcorn now. Let me tell you the story of the space Viking, Thor Odinson. He was no ordinary man. He was a god. After saving planet Earth for the 500th time, Thor set off on a new journey. Well, he got in shape. He went from dad bod to god bod. And after all that, he reclaimed his title as the...
So I'm wondering. So it looks like he's fighting on Earth again there, though, because there's. I mean, but I don't know. It doesn't. It could be a different planet, but it looks like Earth.
one and only Thor. Oh, spoke too soon.
Jane?
And that's a comic accurate helmet, and look entirely, which is really cool.
The old ex-girlfriend.
What's it been like 3, 4 years?
8 years, 7 months, and 6 days, give or take.
Am I sensing feelings?
Well, you're right. The only ones who gods care about is themselves. So this is my vow.
I really love the noir, like that really dark black and white that it keeps cutting to when Gore's around. That's like really cool.
All gods will die. I just want to say that was very, very impressive what you did back there.
She's just my first bad guy.
Like right here. Like clearly they're on some sort of moon or something, but I mean, this guy, just the black and white that surrounds him is amazing to me.
You never
So
forget.
he just destroyed a planet with a sword. This dude's no joke.
First.
This is awesome. This is awesome.
You.
I love it.
I'm not like the other gods of kill. You have something worth fighting for.
Let's see who you are. I take off your disguise. And flick.
Oh,
Flick too hard, damn it!
Should we help him? And eventually, grape.
Could Lady Thor be a variant from the multiverse? No, never mind. That wouldn't make sense. No, that wouldn't make sense. Anyway, I thought that was really fun. Jargo, what's going on? I didn't even see you there.
Oh yeah, I like to come in when no one's looking. I mean, I like to pop in when I'm invited.
What do you think of that?
Oh, I think the trailer's great, man. I've watched it a bunch. I think it's hysterical.
That's a really good trailer. Like in my opinion, Gorr, not comic accurate look, but still pretty goddamn menacing.
I after looking at the shots of them in like the monochromatic gray at
There
the end,
isn't.
I'm like, can you just do the whole movie like that?
That's what I'm saying. I just paused it on that shot where Thor's like blasting the wave, and it's the chromatic black and white around. I was like, this is the best. Like, I love the black and white that surrounds Gorr. They must be on some sort of moon or something.
Or maybe, I don't know. I mean, it could be that the CG isn't done yet for those scenes. I mean, this is obviously an early, an early trailer that they put together. I mean, but the thing about it also is look at the sets and look at the fact that they shot the vast majority of the movie on the volume.
Right.
And you
Right.
can see like just the how well that technology has come along. I mean,
Oh my God.
I'll tell you this though, and I mentioned this to RJ on my stream the other night, is look at the Batman, right? We knew that the Batman had used the volume, but I thought it was only for the rooftop scenes with Catwoman,
Right. But it
right? Because
wasn't.
it wasn't. It was a lot more than that. I had
Yes.
no idea until I saw behind the scenes, and that blew my mind because I was like, I wasn't even like thinking about it from that perspective. And
The way that the Batman achieved what they did was insane.
Yeah.
Insane. Because it was a mix. It's all what I like about the volume is it's a mix of practical and then this really, really amazing computer generated world that you can film in real time. Right?
And
So
well, you
that
can also edit
in
in
real
real time
time.
as well. Yeah. So I mean, you have the ability to like change the time of day,
Right.
and you can like
or
alter
hold
the
the time
background.
of day,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
you hold.
pertinent.
Yeah,
Because I mean, right? A lot of the times, when you're filming like on location, the sunlight you have the sun is always moving. Like it's always, every minute it's technically getting going down or coming up. So you can only hold a certain look for so long, with the sun or with the lack of sun. So the volume allows you to computer generate a certain lighting and keep that lighting for as long as you may need it. And that's really, really beneficial.
well, that is definitely. I mean, you can also do that in green screen.
Oh yeah, but
But
it just
the
doesn't
other,
look as good.
it doesn't look as good. But the reason why this looks, why you could argue they've done better if you look at the technology or how they shot Mando season 1 versus Mandalorian season 2 and Book of Boba Fett. You can see how they've expanded upon what they originally did, because when they were filming in the volume, they used natural light
Right.
to the natural light of the LEDs
the
in order
LED.
to capture it, right? So they didn't really have any extra lights. But they tweaked it a little bit for the other seasons to make it a little bit brighter. I don't know if that was just in camera or in post or whatever, but it was a bit more viewable. Like one of the things I noticed was the at least on my TV, watching The Mandalorian first season in 4K on a Roku through Disney TV or Disney Plus, it was muted. The imagery was very muted and dim. But when I watched it on my Samsung, it looked a lot better, but you can, still see like where like some TVs haven't quite caught up to that yet.
Right. Right.
And so, but again, the technology is like super, super fascinating. And it's, I've done stuff with green screen, like I've shot
Yeah,
on
me
green
too.
screen, and
Yeah.
it's like, it just,
It's
look,
difficult.
it's annoying.
And it's difficult and it's annoying because every shot, every frame needs to be perfectly positioned and thought out and blended, and it's just a pain in the ass. So I mean, the volume, I wouldn't know how to work the thing, but
Well, I mean, effectively what they did, and you can actually go back and when I was doing one of the early variations of Podio commentary, I did one on The Mandalorian. So I went and I researched kind of like how Favreau was developing this technology. I mean, sure, it wasn't all him, but he was very much like the
he was
pioneer.
the pioneer.
He spearheaded it, right? He spearheaded the project. And it all goes back actually to the Jungle Book and when they were filming that back in like 2015.
They were faced with an issue.
Yeah, they were like, how do we make it look like realistic at the time? So they shot, the kid who played Mowgli, and he was like running on a
tree thing,
on like a tree thing. It was kind of like maybe like a treadmill sort of thing, or
right.
And they had the green screen there, but they also had like the lighting was being reflected on him differently to make it look like branches and stuff, or like where like he was going through shadows and everything. And they use that as a way to kind of composite him into these shots. But then when they went on to go do The Lion King, he was like, well, why don't we try this a little bit differently and try it with this more of a virtual stage And that was a good movie, I think, as a proof of concept. If anything, as bad
It
as that
wasn't-
movie is, that movie
yeah,
is
I was
terrible.
gonna say it wasn't a good movie. It didn't have the passion that the
No.
original had, and it was like almost like a shot for shot remake. Just
Can You
lacking
Feel the Love
heart.
Tonight was literally filmed in the daytime.
Yeah,
You know, and it's just and like, you know, it was just bad. But
you're absolutely right. It was a more of a catapult and a proof of concept that the volume could work and it could do immaculate things. And that's when now we're seeing the worlds of video game engines and film kind of merging almost.
yeah.
And
Well,
I
that's
like
also well, but the thing is, have you looked at anything that you can do with Unreal Engine 5?
Right.
You know, and there's Unreal Engine 5 is now it's open. It's like you can download it for free and play
Yeah.
around with it for free. There are people that are already like making little mini movies in Unreal Engine 5 that are like really interesting. They're not like Uncanny Valley yet, you know, it's animation.
Right.
But it's like, you know, Love, Death and Robots season 3 just came out. I need to watch it. And like that again, the technology from season 1 to season 3 is vastly improved with how they're able to get some of this photorealistic looking stuff while pushing the bounds or the boundaries of like the cutting edge of adult animation, which ultimately will then bleed into
Film
children's animation because they're going to take these concepts and use it towards this stuff.
Yeah. I think the volume and that type of, and then the Unreal Engine stuff they are going to be the future of media, at least, or film and television.
Well, I mean, did you ever see what they could do with Unity a couple years ago?
No, what's Unity?
Unity is another game development engine. So Neil Blomkamp, who did District 9, Chappie,
of
and
course.
Elysium.
One of my favorite.
District 9?
One of my favorite directors.
Oh, yeah. He's great, but I wish he would hire someone else to write his stuff, to be fair. That's what I'm at.
I know what you mean.
Chappie.
I get it. I get it. Yeah.
D Antwoord, what the anyway. They run
the two like
the
punk
two rappers, the South, yeah.
It pissed me off so much.
Yeah, they're like, I'm like, why do you owe them money? Like, how did they get in this movie?
End up in this film.
The thing about Chappie that I don't like is that the movie, like, nobody wanted to be in that movie, is what it felt like to me. Like, everyone was really cynical. Everyone was really, and the thing is, the short film it was based on, Tetraval, was one that he did before doing, right around the time he did Live in Joburg, and that was the basis for District 9. And there's even an Easter egg for Tetraval in District 9, if you know what you're looking for. And so it's like, oh, that's really cool. Chappie's this great concept. And then it just turns into this, like, he's again trying to pull out like the same concept that he did in District 9, which is like, what does it mean to be human, or what does it mean to be alive, or whatever,
right.
And that's kind of what Chappie's going through. But it's just the characters like Sigourney Weaver, Hugh Jackman, Dev Patel, all wasted, completely wasted. But I'll tell you this though, here's what killed Chappie. Here's how you knew Chappie was in some serious shit. Is in the marketing leading up to the film, the conversation turned to, hey, Neil, have you ever thought about doing Alien? Is there any special project you wanted to do with Sigourney Weaver? And he's like, oh yeah, we had an idea for Alien 5. And then they released some artwork, that some conceptual artwork that they had done about, they were basically going to skip Alien 3 and Alien 4 and go back to that Alien 2.5 or Aliens 2.5, whatever.
Okay.
And then they were going to kind of have like, Hicks still be alive and, take place.
Retcon it.
They were going to retcon it. Yeah. And so, well, then again, Aliens Colonial Marines, which came out in 2013, is considered canon, and Hicks was still alive in that too. So anyway, but it's kind of like they were going to do, all of a sudden that became the conversation, right? Alien 5 with Neil Blomkamp and Sigourney Weaver, that became the conversation. It wasn't Sony releasing Chappie. It was like, hey, yeah, no, there's this movie that's coming, fine. But Alien 5 with Sigourney Weaver and Neil Blomkamp, that's what people are talking about. And I think ultimately that hurt the movie because people were more interested in that. But then when you sit down to actually watch Chappie, you're just like, okay, I've watched it
wrong.
Well, we had it at the drive-in right before I quit to move to Oregon. and I watched like half of the movie, and I just was, and I'm like, District 9 is one of the best films I've ever seen.
I think it's one of the best movies ever.
Yeah, like I'm an Elysium apologist to an extent. I like
Me too.
I like the idea, a little bit of poor execution of time and
I
whatever.
think it was cookie cutter.
It was, but then after Chappie came and kind of crashed and burned, I think a lot of jobs kind of dried up for Blomkamp, right? So what he decided to do was he went back to the drawing board and he opened up this thing called Oats Studio, OATS Studio.
Yep.
And it was a mixture of just short films, but he would do them in like, he would do hybrids, so live action with CG, and then he started creating animated projects within Unity and storytelling through that. I don't know if because he does really well in the short story, in like the short film world.
Yes, he does.
And that's where I think like Peter Jackson being heavily involved in District 9 was a better person to have holding his hand for his first feature versus kind of like being left to his own devices. Because like he did a bunch of shorts and those are really good. And then he goes in and he does like this demonic movie that came out last year that was, I didn't see it, but the reviews on it were not good. I still need to watch it, but you know, it's like, oh my God, like just, do all that. Anyway, I know I'm off topic.
Be better.
Yeah. Like I just wish it would be better, but Unity is what I'm trying to say is like, that was an interesting animation platform is for indie game design. A lot of indie games run on Unity. And he was able to take it and make animated projects out of it. Well, then you had the Unreal Engine 4, which is what powered stuff like Fortnite and a bunch of games. And you could do a lot within that. And that's what they actually built. I think it was like either Unreal Engine 4 or another engine is what they built the volume technology off of. And then now with Unreal Engine 5, what they're going to be able to do with that going forward is going to be insane because it's going to make it easier to produce and cheaper to produce ultimately, which should allow for hopefully more content coming out faster than where we are. But again,
and
it's like
cheaper in a way, cheaper.
Yeah, because you don't have to go and rent all the spaces and everything else, and they're building all this stuff everywhere they go. So
yeah. So with Thor,
sorry, I didn't mean to get off.
No. I enjoy that kind of conversation. So, but with Thor, I mean, it's kind of feels like we're gonna go on another journey with Thor, and he's gonna find himself. And I feel like we've been down that road so many times. That's the only thing that I can think of that might be a drawback.
But doesn't every hero have that?
Not in every single movie. Not like
really.
What with Thor, it's always like he's on a quest to find himself. And I feel like we've already found who Thor was. Now it's just about being Thor.
But being Thor isn't enough, not for character development in a story. Characters have to go through their ups and their downs. This is, if you were just to have Thor being Thor, then it would be boring.
Okay, and now we're bringing Lady Thor in, and they're clearly not taking the comic book route.
I'm okay with that.
And I'm okay with that as well. But how did Lady Thor come about is my question. It can't be a variant, right?
No, she's not a variant. In the comics, if I recall, Jane Foster gets cancer, and then
the power of Thor.
Is given the power of Thor. But that's only when Thor himself becomes unworthy because Nick Fury just tells him you're unworthy, and apparently that was enough to give him the yips or something.
Yeah, because one of the the highest officials, I guess you could call it in the Avengers world, thought of him as unworthy, so therefore he was unworthy.
About just like totally having someone get in your head, right? You're like, I'm Thor, I'm the power, I'm the god of thunder, and then here comes Nick Fury, like, man, you ain't shit,
and he's like, God, you're right.
Oh, you cut me to my core, good sir. I don't know. Who am I? Where's Loki? Loki, tell me. Oh, he's dead. Oh my God, it's like, okay, where's, where are the Warriors 3? They're dead.
Yeah, they're all, Hela destroyed them with a flip of a wrist. And some of the humor that's being used, like when Zeus flicks off the robe thing, I'm like, okay, even
That's
though
just
I
to show that he like lost all that weight is what it's
right,
for,
right,
right?
the
It's all like,
ladies, right.
yeah, because that was the thing at the beginning of the trailer, like, oh yeah, it's a story of Thor. You know, he went from a dead bod to a god bod. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
and then like, of course, apparently his dick is so big, it makes many women pass
Women
out.
pass out at the sight of it.
Right now,
It's
I
a
have a theory
god
about that.
stick.
I have a
It's a
theory about
god
that,
stick.
right? Because if you think about it, back in like ancient Roman culture, if you look at like the nude, look at the statue of David.
Yeah, they're
Statue of
teeny
David
peepees.
is very tiny, so small,
They're
right? It's
more in
very
line with me.
yeah. Well, hey, listen.
I'm
To be
just
fair,
kidding.
most guys are growers, not showers. All right, like
You
it's
know
just
it.
that is just the reality of it. And so there's some stuff there. But
What are we talking about?
anyway, but it's like the fact that it's like here's apparently this like this elephant trunk that he's rocking, right? He's like, I don't need me only. Have you seen my penis? That could be maybe the joke they're going for, but obviously it was meant to showcase, Chris Hemsworth has that physique.
As the
Did you see like when he was like doing because he was doing training for Thor 4 at the same time he was doing training for the Hulk Hogan biopic.
oh geez, so he's ripped.
So he, and then also like getting ready to do Extraction too. So
Right.
he was like bam, 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 bam. He was working his ass off and just
Yeah.
like looking really good.
Well, he
So
does all those workout things. Like he has if he's got those like commercials now that like, oh, do the superhero workout with Chris Hemsworth. So like he's got a persona built around it as well. So I mean, the guy is just in incredible shape. Incredible. He is Thor. Like he's Thor.
yeah, another thing I find to be kind of funny is people who get upset at the comedy, right?
Yeah, I mean, it can be a little bit much at times, but that's with every Marvel
But
film.
how
I
is
think.
comedy is never the problem?
No, it's not.
Like
In this book-
comedy is always what people look for. It's like they respond to it, like it's
right.
one of the best jokes in Thor Ragnarok was like when he says, "Oh, we're the Revengers." And you're like, that's a good joke, right?
That
That's
is a good-
that's a solid joke right there. And like that
That's
was
a solid
good.
joke. That's a solid joke.
And then
I like a lot of the comedy from Ragnarok because it blended a darker tone story, like a kind of a miserable story, but with a hopeful tone. And that's what I mean. Gorr, he's not going to be a guy that's going to bring lighthearted feelings to the film, right? So there's going to be some dark shit in this movie, but it's also going to be a very beautiful story. It's going to be
Yeah.
bright as well.
Well, it's like the thing with what I think what people don't realize is I think a lot of people that are upset at the comedy, specifically the comedy in Ragnarok, is they're unfamiliar with non-American comedy, right? So because Hemsworth is an Aussie and Taika Waititi is a Kiwi.
Yeah.
And their humor is very different, but their humor still has a tendency to overlap, right? And a lot of it is also very much like, there's it's a very quick-witted humor, the same with British humor. So I had a friend of mine once who, from the UK, and we're talking and he's like, man, he's like, you have a really interesting British sensibility when it comes to humor. And I'm like, well, I grew up watching Monty Python. I watched Blackadder. I watched all of these old BBC comedies from
like
back in the day.
Yeah.
That's
like
what I grew up watching. So for me, that's the humor I like.
I like that quick humor.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. The dry Aussie humor is the best.
Yeah. It's just like when you can sit there and just
Do you
have
watch
one of those.
Aussie Man reviews?
No, I actually
Do you know
don't.
of him?
I've heard of him. Here's the thing with that, and I know I
He's
might catch some shit.
Fucking hilarious.
I'll have to check him out. I actually do not watch film reviews, like any of them.
Well, no. So he doesn't do reviews like that. I mean, he does, but he does like commentary videos where he'll like say like there's a fight, like a video of a fight at McDonald's. He'll commentate over it, but Aussie style, bro. It's the they're like comedy videos. It's hilariously good. But he also does more like he interviews actors as well. And like but makes a bit of it. And he's really funny. Like his shit's gone downhill a little bit because it's like it's only so much you can do. There's only so many times you can make the same joke. But he doesn't do like film reviews.
Okay, okay. It just didn't. People always ask me if I watch other YouTubers, and it's like I'll watch commentary, but like I don't watch.
No,
I don't watch reviews.
I'm very much. People always ask me this. The oh, why don't you get involved? Like get involved in other chats and watch other people's stuff. I'm like I'm either busy making my own or doing like living my life. I don't watch. I don't have time to watch too many YouTube videos.
Yeah, and I get frustrated with a lot of people. Well, okay, I'll fully admit this is like me being probably like super like hoity-toity about it.
Sure.
But I'm just like when I listen to someone and they're like talking about something about a character and they completely overlook like the subtext of the character, and I'm like pulling from my my film school years and my writing years and everything else, and I'm like, so I'm pulling at it from a different perspective than they are. I just get mad. And I'm like, I can't watch this. I'm just gonna get like I just get frustrated.
I'm with you. I tend to do the same thing. I mean, when I don't know, the only I sometimes listen to you, like depending on what the topic was the night before, but besides that, I really. And then, but I used to listen to Lightcast to laugh.
Like at them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My thing with like the reason why I stopped listening to Lightcast and why I don't like to listen to people that I don't like. You know what I mean? Like I can't get into it. Like that's why people are like, oh, can you do more Chud Watch? I'm like, it's fun every once in a while to do. I couldn't make it a meal. I couldn't make it a daily thing. Because it's like I'm just watching these people.
That's how Dane like does his whole thing, and I'm like, I mean, Dane kind of just stopped talking to me.
He stopped talking to a lot of people.
I don't know why.
He got burnt out. Is what it was, in my opinion, at least. I think because he was doing like that Beta Boys show, which I did enjoy actually, and then it just got to be a little bit too much. And he was doing like the reacting to the Chud stuff, and it just got to weigh on him too much. And but I watched some of his other videos. He did one about the history of Superman, about like the origins of Superman, and like how like Superman used to not be this like omnipotent being, like he was just like a working class hero sort of thing. Right. Like he would beat up like shady landlords and like racketeers and things like that. Yeah. And I'm like, that's a cool grounded little story. And then, then you look back and you're like, oh yeah, with Christopher Reeve, they kind of made him like a godlike subject.
Made him OP. Yeah.
Made him OPAF. Yeah. He can, reverse the polarity of the world and turn back time.
Yeah.
Like where the fuck were you back in August of 2018? Jesus. And so it's like, or all of 2018, goddamn. So, I mean, something along those lines, but then all these people flock to it. Like he's this, icon for Christ-like appearances. And that's what Zach very much played into that. And so it's so funny too, because there's so many people, that love like the Cavill Snyder version of Superman but they're Muslim. And I'm all like, it's an allegory for Christ, right? Like you guys are going to have some fundamental ideological disagreements, and
a lot of them are Muslim.
They are, and that's fine. There's nothing against that whatsoever. Like it's not trying to speak critical on that front.
Of course not. Of course not.
But it's something that I've just noticed and everything. So I always kind of like to laugh at it a little bit. But no, it's the character of Superman himself. I think the character in modern interpretation, for the most part, boring. I do. I think he's boring.
You stick by that, huh?
I stick by that. That's why I liked the deconstruction of the character with what Snyder did, making him question his humanity, and also
because with a character that is like so powerful like that, the fight, it can't always be physical. It has to be mental.
Yeah.
Right. Like it has to be like him questioning himself, or him struggling to do the right thing, even like or be the person or be the hero that everyone thinks him to be or expects him to be. That's why I like Snyder's, right? Because it was almost political in a sense.
It really was, and they did a great job deconstructing, him and Batman and even Wonder Woman to an extent. And I thought that they pulled them down to a human level and then built them back up. And you know, that's, I actually really enjoyed the way that they approached those characters. I also feel like the way that Matt Reeves approached the Batman was, again, like a tortured soul who was now at this stage in his career, he's more bat than man. And even when we met Batfleck, he was still more bat than man when we met him in BVS, but he had reason. It wasn't like his bitterness and cynicalness came from years of not actually having an impact. Whereas the Batman was like, his bitterness and cynicalness came from the anger still not processed from his trauma.
Yep.
So there's different ways of deconstructing these characters that are going to be, that can be touched upon in multiple times, different points in their life. And the same with Superman. Like, again, one of my favorite scenes in BVS Ultimate Edition is when he just calls his mom because he's having a bad day. And it's like, I mean, granted, the Superman level bad day, which is like they're trying to pin this genocide on me, but whatever, right. You know, and it's like, it's like, like imagine calling your mom, hey, mom, so like, what's going to, like, oh, Clark,
Clark,
they're blaming you for killing. I read on InfoWars that you murdered 180,000 Rwandans. What is up with that? And he's like, I didn't do it. I know you didn't, honey. All right.
You brought InfoWars in. I love it.
But it's like, but imagine if InfoWars, okay, the concept of J. Jonah Jameson and Spider-Man No Way Home
is InfoWars.
100% InfoWars. Like, I mean,
it's down to the fucking T.
It's so great how they played that off. But even go back to the 2018 Spider-Man video game on PS4, J. Jonah Jameson was basically hosting a podcast because he had become discredited as a journalist. And so he's hosting this podcast where he's admonishing Spider-Man constantly. So he's becoming his own level version of InfoWars. And that is the kind of disinformation that you would see come out of these kind of situations. And you did see that in Batman v Superman, the unrated, or in the Ultimate, because this is what Lex Luthor had put forward. That was his plan, was to discredit Superman. That was how he wounded him. That's how we got to him. And he confused people and he made them angry and upset. He got Batman to want to kill this alien that he never would have probably done otherwise, but because they had twisted the bat and done everything with the bat behind the scenes to make him feel that way. And it just goes to show you that humans, even aliens masquerading as such, can be manipulated by those who are around them, even if it's done surreptitiously. Right. And so it was very methodical on Luthor's part. That's why I think that film has the impact that it does. But then looking at the general idea of these characters and like, look at what happened with Superman Returns. We get Superman Returns, everyone dunks on it because it was it was trying to be Christopher Reeve. It wasn't Christopher Reeve because he was dead, and everyone hated on that movie. So they changed course, and then everyone hated on the movie. Because the reality of it is that no one can be happy entirely happy with the interpretation of the Man of Steel, which is why I suggest just make him fucking evil and be done with it. Because here's the other part of that too, Ty. We as men, and I mean men as a species, we always want to kill what we don't understand, right? And since God is always presented to us, the concept of God, this omnipotent deity that is invisible to the touch, we can never see, but somehow controls everything, we always want to find a way to destroy God, right? To prove our value into the world. That is humanity at its core. And it's so funny that it's like all these people, they want to put faith in a God. And it's like, are you religious? And many of them will probably say, no, they're not. But it's like, if you're going to sit there and say that you need to have a Boy Scout Superman in order to feel like this character is complete, then I don't think you understand how characters are.
No.
Because characters need to have flaws in order to overcome those flaws. And that's why these movies, like with Thor finding himself, that is the core concept of the character. He's finding himself in different ways, but he always ends up suffering tragedy as a result.
Right.
And that was my favorite thing about Infinity War, or Ragnarok, Infinity War, and Endgame, because that to me was a Thor trilogy.
Right.
It starts with the loss of his father and then, you could even go back to the Dark World, right? Loses his mother, doesn't process his grief. Loses his father, doesn't process his grief. Loses his brother at the beginning of Infinity War, doesn't process his grief. Finally, he's at the lowest point he can be, and he starts to work through the grief. But that doesn't happen until everything else happens. He blames himself for killing Thanos. So he decapitates him without question, when they catch up with them, thinking that this will make up for my mistakes.
It'll fill that void.
Yeah, fill that void. And it didn't. Bread did. And so then 5 years later, he's now Fat Thor, but then he gets the opportunity to go back and he gets the chance to talk to his mother, and his mother just says, it will be okay.
Right.
You know, and like, that's that concept of like going through all of this journey and to just hear the words you just need to hear are, it's going to be okay. Right. Because we as people, and this is what I feel a lot of these movies have trouble with in regards to storytelling. And I'm sorry to go off on a ramble here, but it's like my biggest complaint when it comes to the criticisms that people put on these films is that they fail to look at them through the lens of growth and understanding, right? People don't want character development anymore, it feels like. They just want someone to go bang, 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 pew, 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 bang, bang, and then be over, right? Like, that's all they care about. But it's like, if you go...
Go watch Michael Bay then.
Yeah, well, even Michael, you know what, man? Fucking The Pain and Gain is a great movie for that. There's a lot of stuff in there.
I love Michael Bay, and I'm not afraid to admit it. I like his movies.
I do too, man. I do too. I didn't quite care.
Bad Boys, man. Come on.
Well, yeah, nobody will ever be happy. That's the other side of this as well. I mean, it's like no one will ever be happy. Really? Well, I mean, just talking about, about Suri, talking like, in these stories, no one's ever going to be happy because everyone has their own interpretation. And that's part.
If it's not if it's not what they think it should be, then it's automatically bad. And that's the problem as well. Like, anything not Snyder to the Snyder fans is bad. And that's just not true. It's not. And it's a very, very shitty way to look at life.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel bad.
And I'll tell you this, it's definitely impacted me in certain things. There are certain movies I wanted to see, but because of like initial negative reaction, I just didn't do it. Like I'm a big Halo fan. Have been. I've humble bragged about this, but I was one of the first people in the world to ever play it.
Right.
I went to E3 back in 2001, and the Xbox was, everyone was there for the GameCube. The GameCube was the big release for the year, but the Microsoft Xbox was coming out at the same time. And while everyone was fawning over this little, 6x6 cube that Nintendo was putting together, over on the other hall, there was this little booth with no frills, and it was just the Xbox. They had like 6-7 consoles out there or whatever. Like they were demoing like different games. So I walk in with a friend of mine, and they're all like, "Hey, have you heard of the Xbox?" I said, "Yeah." And like, "Oh, do you want to give it a shot? We're demoing this game. We're doing multiplayer in a map called, Blood Gulch, Capture the Flag. Little game called Halo." I'm like, all right. So I sat down, started playing it, played CTF on Blood Gulch. And I fucking fell in love with it, dude. I just fell in love with it. It was amazing. Just the way it felt. And I came home and I raved about Halo. I talked my friends into getting it because I didn't have the money at the time. So I talked my friend who was my roommate. He turned into my roommate a few months later, but like he was getting like $600 a month in child support, and like his parents just gave him the money. I was like, dude, get a freaking Xbox, get Halo. So he did. And then we all just played LAN, right? We all did the 4-player split screen at our friend's house and stuff until he became my roommate. And then that became kind of my Xbox for a while. But anyway, it was like, but we all played a lot of Halo, and that was a big thing for us. I've read the books, I played the games, I love all of it. And then
love Halo. I've been seeing that game. I don't play much video games, but I had an Xbox, I've had a PlayStation. I'm more of a PlayStation person if I had to choose. But anytime I was at a friend's house, like back in the day, Halo was always like they were always playing Halo or Call of Duty, depending on the day. I've been watching people play Halo for years. It's culturally, it's huge. I'm watching the show, and I fucking love it.
Okay, see, I haven't seen it yet. I need to sit down. It's just one of those things where it's like I don't know if it's just the last couple years or where I'm at mentally. Like I'm having so much trouble. Like I don't even give much of a shit anymore about like anything entertainment wise, like I'm like, if I see it, I see it. If I don't, whatever, and a lot of that, a lot of it is because of the discourse online. It's always just everything is woke. Everything is terrible. Everything is trash. It doesn't matter. I know we shouldn't let those thoughts influence us, but when you do a show like, 4 or 5 nights a week, and you're talking about stuff, and then it's just like this constant, like, you put on a good show, you try to put your opinions out there, but the way that you're rewarded, and this is also like the algorithm. I've been at this game like 10 years, guys. So like I have my bitterness and cynicism from a multitude of different things, not just where things are. It's a gradual buildup.
That's why I call you Grandpa Jarbo.
Yeah, well, if you look at how much gray hair I got now, absolutely.
Well, no, I didn't mean it like that.
No. I literally like, I have this like full on Santa Claus level white patch like right underneath my chin, and it's so distinct from the rest of my beard that like my family will be like, "What the fuck is that on your face?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I mean, it's just such a weird." I'm like, my girlfriend said the same thing. I'm all like, if I do that, they win. And she's like, who are they? And I'm like, the terrorists. I might shave it off. I might just shave it off and whatever with it, or what, I don't know. Maybe I'll do that like Wolverine look, where I just like get rid of like the centerpiece of the goat and just have like the mutton chops and be like, yeah, I'm a fat dude with mutton chops, ride a bike.
Lean into it.
Yeah, just like lean into like the weird like I live in the forest like mentality.
I look.
Yeah, right. Fat man in little coat.
You H Barts says, Matt. Well, thank you, H Barts, for $2 super chat. Matt, watch Eternals. It's not bad.
I don't think it's.
Listen, I have to agree.
I don't think it's gonna be bad. I don't think it's gonna be bad. I just don't care. Like nothing about it like spoke to me. Like as soon as Kevin Feige was all like, Chloe Zhao did really good things with Sunsets, I'm like,
you checked out.
I'm like, dude. I mean, don't get me wrong, man. Like if I was watching Nomadland, and they had a really great shot of Frances McDormand like looking out over over a desolate town that's been closed up because of Waterworld came on in. Yeah, taking a crap in a coffee bucket because she's living out the back of her freaking, her Toyota Prius or whatever, right? And it's like, and she's just like pondering her life while like taking a shit. And it's just, you see the sunset coming down. Like that would be a powerful shot. Cause like, you know what? We've all kind of been there,
Oh yeah.
You got that 1,000-yard stare while you're just, pushing out a chode. You may not have a sunset, but you might close your eyes and envision, but that would be something powerful. But in like the Marvel universe where we've gone to the depths of the cosmos, it's just like, yo, y'all see this fucking sunset?
It's nothing.
Like we literally have gone to like the carved out head of a celestial being that is like the collector's, like home base and shit. And it's all like, a sunset. It's a fucking really sunset. Like we went to Ego's home planet where he literally could manufacture whatever he wanted. There was a huge ass Pac-Man there, but a sunset. I have nothing against her as a director. I think she's fine as a director. It just, nothing about like the cast excited me. I don't care about Angelina Jolie. Gemma Chan, fine, whatever. They just wanted to
repurpose. Not a good lead though.
Well, they just wanted to repurpose her after Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel, right? Yeah. So like, okay, I don't have a problem with that either, but it's like she doesn't strike me as like the most charismatic. Richard Madden, I like Richard Madden. Icarus, like, but it's like I liked him in Game of Thrones. I need to see The Bodyguard. I hear that's really good. But Angelina Jolie hasn't intrigued me since like fucking Wanted.
I never really cared
Salt
about
was
her.
good. I like Salt.
I never really cared about her.
I think
she's like loved her for what was the
Tomb
franchise?
Raider.
Tomb Raider. Everyone loved
those
her
were good
Tomb
though.
Raider. I didn't watch them.
You know who directed the first one? Simon West, who did Con Air.
Way.
Yeah, and Michael Bay. I think Michael Bay produced the first one.
Huh.
Yeah, I think so. Also, Daniel Craig is in it.
Are they actually worth watching now?
You know what? I'll tell you this though, man. The very first night I started working at the drive-in was June 15th, 2001. And that was the night Tomb Raider came out. And so I remember my very first night working at the theater, and I spent a decade there, which is why it's kind of important to me.
Yeah, I know. You bring it up a lot. I figured you were there for
Yeah. Oh man. I'll tell you this. So okay, real quick side thing. So the local San Diego NBC affiliate just did like this whole little, news piece on the drive-in for the summer. They're all like, with summer approaching, interest in the drive-in is rising. It's like, where the fuck have you been? Like, we're open 365 days a year, man. Like we're pretty busy most of the time. At least when I was there. I don't know how it's been run since I left, but clearly not as good.
Right.
And but anyway, so they have a little news video, and they're talking with the owner, and it's this whole thing with like two families. Like one family who I worked for built it and ran it, but they got money from another family that owned the land and part of the business, but had no say over the business until recently because the property is valued at the 15 to 20 million dollars. You know, at this point,
Damn.
it's like I think it's like around 6-8 acres or somewhere in there.
Because you could put a lot there.
You could put a lot there, and so like they kind of muscled out the old.
Is it in like a good location?
It's
too?
it's in an industrial area, but like there's apartments across the freeway and everything else. They could easily put like industrials or apartments there. It wouldn't matter. You know, it's like it runs alongside the San Diego River. It's, you know,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
it's nice. It's really, it's a nice little area. And the thing is, the family built it in the late 1950s, and everything else. And, you know, so she was on, so I haven't met this woman, right? I haven't met her at all, but I know who she is. But she took over, muscled out the family. They muscled out the other people. And from my understanding, they've totally screwed the business, but that's a whole other point. And so I watched this video and like I comment on my friend who's like managing the place now. I'm like, then that video was trash. That lady's a liar. Cause she's like, my dad built this place. Right. And I'm like, that's a load of crap. Your dad funded some of the money, but your dad didn't build it. Your dad they had an agreement to like fund the money, but it was a loan. And then once the other family who built it was going to pay it off, then they would own it. But then this guy was like, saw the value of the drive and was like, no, I'm not going to do that. So it screwed them out of a loan, they had a deal, totally went back on a deal. And then, so they've had this percentage for years that they get a lot of money off of. I mean, I get it from a business perspective, but don't act like, oh, we built it, whatever.
Right.
So I say this on Facebook and some lady I don't know comes back. She's like, well, that's not the whole story. There's a lot of complicated elements to it. And I'm all like, well, I just said, LOL, I worked there for a decade. Trust me, I know the lore.
Right.
I'm like, I got like, it was so funny. I got real fucking defensive, dude. I got like real defensive.
Dude, Facebook is all filled with just like 40-year-old over.
I'm 40.
I know. But you technically classify them.
Sure. Yeah.
So
I
40 and over, mostly female Karens. That's what Facebook is to me now. Like, that's it.
Everyone else is on TikTok.
Or Twitter, yeah.
Or well, I think the older audience is moving over. A lot of the older audience is moving to TikTok, and then I think Instagram and stuff. Twitter hasn't really.
Old people take over Twitter. I mean, TikTok. Dude, that's a wrap.
Do you know how many? Okay, so I do the true crime stuff, right?
Yeah,
and I get new
good job.
I do. I really like what I do over there, and a lot of the people that I check the profiles of people who follow me. I just broke 14,500. And by the way, a month I hit 14,000 new followers. Haven't had that growth on any other platform in years.
I know. And I want to do what you do, but in Aliens.
You could totally do that, dude. There's a guy over there with like 2.3 million followers that just, we'll talk later on. I can point you towards some resources.
Okay.
Cause I've thought about doing that I like conspiracies, even though I'm like a practical, logical person.
Yeah. Maybe you do the true crime, I'll do the alien.
we can cross
and then we'll collab for conspiracies.
Sure. Like this person was abducted by aliens, potentially killed. There you go.
It's a perfect story.
There's some weird stories about that too, by the way.
Yeah, of course there is.
But no, is it like the thing is though, I've noticed that a lot of the women that follow my account are they're not young women. They're like they're my age or older, and a few of them are older. So it's like Wait
a second. Pause. Is your channel named after the drive-in?
No. $3 Theater is not named after the drive-in.
Oh, okay.
No,
you see what I
yeah.
Though,
but
right?
it is named after the next theater I worked at, which was the Regency Academy 6 in Pasadena, California. It was a discount movie theater, $3 in the evening. Is what it cost for $3 to see a ticket to see a movie after 7.
For matinee, no.
For the matinee was $2.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and they would do second. Now it's like I think it's like $5 or whatever. It's more money now, but
still not bad.
No, and they would get the movies 2 weeks after they came out. Like in some cases, if a movie tanked like really quick, we would get it like the next weekend. Okay. But yeah, that was.
Marks, thank you again, Matt. Is your story canon to the drive-in? Yes, of course.
Yeah, I was there. I I have a lot of stories that are
Lots
canned
of
to the
sweat.
drive.
Lots of sweat at that drive-in.
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, I should have been fired probably like at least 80 times, but I put the work in, so they just kind of let me do whatever I wanted. Like there was one time I left work on the clock to go to a strip club,
Oh my God.
and then I
Matt.
came back.
Oh, okay. Thank God.
It was I had to go do something down. I think I had to take someone down there. No. We all went down. We went, I feel like it was like 4 of us left and went down to a strip club because we had to go clean up the theater at the end of the night. So we had until the movies were over. So like we closed, this was like way back in the day. The snack bar closed like at like an hour into like the second movie or whatever. So it was a slower night. So we had a lot of time. So we said, well, why don't we get out of here? So we all just like jumped in my friend's car, like the manager, by the way, assistant manager at the time, jumped in his car and drove down to the strip club, which is like 20 miles away, and went to the strip club for like 2 hours, and then got in the car, came back, and then finished up and clocked out and went home.
My God. This is why we can't have nice things,
No,
man.
you totally have nice things, man. It's like, dude, there was one night I was so drunk on the clock because I had bought, I was like 19 and I wanted to get in good with everybody because we would drink there. So I paid them to go get us a teener of MGD.
Oh,
And
dude, Mad Dog?
No, Miller draft, whatever. And I don't drink beer anymore, so it's like I forget. But we were drinking that, so I was like 4 or 5 cans in, and I'm just like chain smoking a cigarette, and I walk over to my boss, and I'm like, "What's going on, Brian? How you doing, man?"
Oh my Lord.
You want a beer?
Yeah, sure. No.
My boss was 23 years retired Navy, right? Like he's been in the Navy, so he didn't care that we were drunk because you guys get your job done, right? Like yeah, we'll be good. By the way, it's really hard to clean up trash in the dark when you're hammered and your vision is blurred.
I know, Matt. I was an alcoholic.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm not trying to glorify drinking. It's terrible. You should never do it, children. But we used to just do a lot of drinking there and shit back in the day. But my
Thank you,
boss,
Brian.
it was good times.
Thank you, Brian, for the $1. Could have done more, asshole. I'm just kidding. No, I love you. But you were saying something earlier. I think we forgot what it was now.
Sorry,
I went off there. Yeah,
I've been with my kids like all day, so
no,
I've
that's
just been
okay.
like, it's just,
are we doing Hollywood After Dark?
yeah. I can start in a couple minutes. I can bring up.
Yeah, so we're gonna transition from here into Hollywood After Dark.
Here, I'll bring up the thumbnail so people can know what to look for.
A little sneak peek of the thumbnail.
Oh yeah. There we go.
I'm excited. So this is what oh my God, thank God. So this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the Walter Hamada testimony.
Yeah.
However, I am going to be doing my own mini video of it because I'm off tomorrow. So I'm staying up all night and I'm going to film it on my nice camera that I haven't been using because I've been using webcams. Spent fucking $3,000 on the camera. I haven't used it more than a handful of times. So I'm going to actually shoot this video and do it that way. But I would love to talk about it on your channel.
Yeah.
Are we going to watch a little bit of it?
Yeah, we'll watch the clip in question, the one about the Zack Snyder thing.
About that, yes. Okay.
I don't want to do any like Aquaman 2 spoilers, nothing like that, just because I don't want it to be I don't want to ruin it. But what's really funny here is I've been paying for this. I kind of want to brag. I've been paying. If you look at the image here of Walter Hamada, it's a very nice looking image, isn't it? Very clean.
Okay, yeah. You were talking about this on Instagram.
Yeah, I've been using a 4K image upscaler.
So what do you have? What's the app?
It's Remini. Yeah, it's like $5 a week.
Oh, it's paid?
It's paid. I'm just giving it a shot because I canceled another service. So I'm like, all right, I'll give this a shot. That was like, same price.
But that looks great in comparison to the blurry one that everyone else is using.
Yeah. So, and I cleaned up both images here too, with Amber Heard and Jason Momoa. I cleaned up both of those images as well. So it just looks more striking. And especially some of the ones I've done with the true crime stuff, some of those images look like
Right.
really, really good.
They're from the 70s or 80s.
Yeah.
Whatever. So
And you just get like a really interesting look to it. So that's what I've been. Yeah, it's
That
it's
looks
I think
really good.
worth the even my image here that you're seeing is actually my own up-resed image here of my face.
See, that's been changed since you've gotten this app.
Yeah, I actually I threw that app threw this picture into the app just like 2 days ago,
It
and
looks really good.
up-res my own face.
No, it looks great. It really does. So it looks like we're going to be talking mostly about the trial. If I'm not,
Yeah, well
I have a lot to say about the trial, so I'm okay with it.
I tell you the truth, I haven't really been watching that much of it, so I'll probably learn a couple things.
Yeah, you will. You sure will.
Because but I still stand by Johnny Depp. So
yeah, of course, me too.
does anyone not at this point?
And the sad thing is he lost the Fantastic Beast role for no reason, and I mean, do you think he could sue Warner Brothers for that?
Nope.
He can't.
He was paid.
Oh, he was.
He got the full rate. Yep.
Oh wait, he got
paid. He got paid for Fantastic Beasts the whole amount. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
He just didn't get to be in it.
Yeah. He still got paid. But well, now what you could talk about though is like, they held on as long as they could, to be fair, right? So from a company perspective, they held on for as long as they could.
For looks.
And then, but it was as soon as he lost the libel case in the UK, then they fired him.
Yeah.
And if he would have won that case, then they wouldn't have fired him. But they were going full steam ahead as if it wasn't going to be a thing. Amber Heard, on the other hand, from what I've been reading, they were basically like already looking to like recast her. They knew she was a problem because Warner's like basically backed her during the whole Me Too thing, and because, remember, she dropped that op-ed in like January 2018 or something.
Yep. And that's when he filed the defamation.
Yeah. And it took forever to get there. But I mean, like, look, you can argue, I would argue that they were very toxic for each other. And there's definitely, and I'm not like, and I do think that he's innocent, but what I mean by that is, he definitely
not innocent.
He's not, but not, what I mean is like, he's not innocent, like 100%, but like, or I should say he's not guilty. How about that? Like in regards to her defamation, I think she did defame him. I think she did bait him, but he definitely, he reacted to get her the results that she wanted to be able to use against him. And so I think that like this case kind of proved that, if anything, in the court of public opinion, which we could talk more about that on my stream, because a lot of people, I think, tend to think they don't really realize that like he could still lose this case.
He could. No, he very much.
Or he wins and he gets no money.
Right, because from to date, or at least to this point, we've been mostly, it's been Amber on the stand. Now it's shifting.
Johnny was on first. Johnny was on first for like the first 2 weeks or whatever. He was on a lot.
No. I know. I'm saying it's shifting. Like now we're getting to final arguments, and the shift is away from necessarily Amber, and it's back on both of them and who's going to win and what side everybody's taking. So now we're going to start to figure out, and we're going to find out who wins in 18 hours or something, 20 hours.
Something like that. It's getting close to the end of the what I find to be fascinating is that so many people have made so much money off of this thing. Like there are people that will live stream it and they get like
it's crazy.
The law
Even
and crime.
News channels are live streaming.
Dude, it's all over TikTok.
And they're getting super chats.
Yeah, I know.
They're collecting fucking super chats.
I know.
On AB fucking C News. Collecting super chats. I was baffled.
Crazy stuff, man.
It's because, and then, God, I forgot. No, this is something actually. I forgot. I do want to say that my heart is really, really broken for the events in that school today. In Texas.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's mass shootings are becoming a real problem, like a real problem. And I don't know what to do, and I'm glad I'm not. I I just don't even know what to say because I'm an avid believer in the right to bear arms, but these automatic weapons, they're a whole different story. You do not need one in suburban America or anywhere in the United States. Um, there are other weapons that you can safely protect yourself with, and the it, it's mind-boggling the fact that before Sandy Hook, if this thing happened, if something like this happened, it would be it would be the only thing talked about for weeks. But it's becoming so fucking regular. Like just not even 2 weeks ago, the last one happened where a guy opened fire before the NBA playoffs. And then the other one the same night in the supermarket. Like enough is a fucking enough. We need to start focusing on people's mental health.
Well, I'll say this. Look, you can get on, every mountaintop, every hilltop, every balcony, rooftop, whatever, and scream until you are literally blue in the face and dead of voice. But we do have a system of laws in this country, most of which are designated by our federal stuff, at least by our elected representatives, represent the House of Representatives and the Senate. There are 50 senators right now in the Republican side that are not voting on this. They're not wanting to advance this bill that was voted on for background checks inside of the House that passed because it's a Democrat-led House. But they did say tonight that the Senate is preparing to move forward to vote on that particular bill in the wake of this shooting. Now, will those 50 senators and maybe even Joe Manchin on the fucking left pull their head out of their mother's apron and do the right thing, put their big boy pants on, and do what 90% of Americans want? Or are they going to sit there and say, well, we need to focus on mental health without enacting any policies to either destigmatize mental health help or to open up the fucking funding? Now, I'm fortunate, Ty, that in my state, in Washington, I have full health coverage through the state. That includes my mental health. I have, 4 years ago, almost, I was seeing a therapist that was completely covered by the state, and it very much saved my life, given everything with everything with me that happened. Right.
Listen, by the way, to anyone who doesn't know, behavioral health, mental health, all of that stuff is not cheap. It's not cheap. And like, Matt, I know exactly what you're talking about because I never paid for a detox or a program. It was all, because I wasn't working because I was going into a program. I was on Mass Health. It's called, Massachusetts Health.
Yeah.
It's Mass Health, and it was all paid for by the state. But you only qualify for that if, you're not working. Like if you're working, you have to have something else.
Yeah. So for some reason with the state of Washington, I've been able to, even being self-employed, they've covered my ass. Anyway, Grant, I don't make a lot of money, but it's like,
right.
They still help out quite a bit with that. And so, yeah, I mean, like my diabetes medication, my medication's covered by the state. So this is why it's important. I wouldn't be able to afford it otherwise. I wouldn't be able to, my antidepressants, my blood pressure medication, my metformin.
I bet you pay a very low copay, probably free even.
It's free. It's I have full coverage.
When I was on Mass Health, I never had to pay for a prescription either.
Yeah.
And that stuff, when utilized by the right people, is a good thing. But when people do abuse it and just like not work because they're lazy and just have the state pay for everything, like that stuff I don't like.
Well, okay. So to touch upon that, not to delve into a larger conversation, but just the slightly pushback on that, It is not as much as you think it's like that. It's not that people are lazy and that they don't want to work. It's that the system is designed to keep you down. Okay. In many instances, like when I was on food stamps, when I was on unemployment,
I've been on food stamps.
Well, you know how it is. Like you get okay. So when I left the theater in LA, I did get unemployment because they fired me, and I was only getting $144 a week. Right, that's it in LA in 2012 or 2011
for a paycheck.
That's what unemployment gave me, $144 a week.
Okay, yeah, so that's
right. So if I and then
by the way,
what?
That's the EBT card.
Yeah. Oh
Like,
yeah. No.
That's I still have it to remind me of where things can go.
Yeah. You have to. It's a good thing to have. But what I'm trying to say essentially is like, and you know this too, if you make more money than they allot you, they will penalize you.
Yes.
So it's like, if you need that, let's 144 a week and you can barely sustain on that, because that's kind of what it was.
It's like, what is it? It's like for every hour worked, you lose a certain amount of certain amount.
Yeah. And so you're not able to get ahead of anything. So they actually keep you in a state of suspension, because you're like, well, it's either I can hopefully get ahead, or I can stay here because I know this is what I can survive off of, but I'm not able to pull myself up while still having the support.
Right.
Eventually, though.
But the problem that I find, and I get what you're saying, but it's my problem is when they're paying for, like, they're taking that money and like buying drugs with it. Right?
That's actually that is rarer than you think. There are people out there that do purchase EBT cards for cash, and they do all that stuff. And there are a few, but it is marginally smaller than you might believe. It's look at the numbers. It's really not as rampant. The thing is, though, because that ends up getting a lot of the play, that ends up becoming a lot of the conversation, people start to associate, that kind of behavior. A lot of these people, like when I did the whole food stamp thing, like they were like, hey, we need to see your bank account like for the last 3 months. And I'm like, what, to see how fucking poor I am? Like, right. I wouldn't come to you if if I wasn't in need of this. And they're like, yeah, okay, well, okay, you make, they gave me what, I think it was like 100 a week in groceries and whatnot. But it's like, there's restrictions on that. You can't buy candy. You can't buy soda. EBT means you can't even buy hot fucking food, dude. Like you have to get like cold food. And that's why Walmart started doing. Yeah, I know what time it is. Yeah.
No. That's not what I was saying at all.
Oh.
In Massachusetts, it's different. You can buy everything except like hot food. That's it.
Oh yeah. You can't even do hot food in California. So, I mean, and there's a lot of other stuff there that you're not able to get as well.
Like I can buy anything in the grocery store except like paper goods, like anything that's not food, and it's not hot. Like not like the chicken wings and the rotisserie chickens you can't buy.
Sure. Well, Walmart started offering cold rotisserie chickens as that were EBT compliant.
Right.
Because
snap.
Yeah. Because, God for fucking bid, you have a warm goddamn fucking bird to eat. You know what I mean? It's just the stupidest thing. It's just like, well,
I don't like that it doesn't let you buy, stuff that you would need in order to eat, right? Like forks, knives, fucking plates. Like, I maybe that would just be too broad of a thing to allow, but I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, that's just.
But we're never gonna,
It's a thing. Like, it's a lot of it is just to kind of wrap this conversation up, because I need to use the bathroom and start my stream, which I did link you to on Twitter. A lot of it is policy. So vote locally. That's like every couple months.
Elections are the most important.
Yeah. And a lot of times, if you are a Democrat, those local elections get swept by Republicans because people don't pay. The Democrats are more national, not so much local, whereas the Republicans are very good to hone down the message on a county by county basis.
Yeah.
And never mind gerrymandering. That's a whole other goddamn
I was
conversation.
Going to say that is gerrymandering what they're doing.
Kinda. So
but both sides do it. You know that.
I don't argue. I can't argue the both sides aspect of it anymore, man. Not when there's so much. Not when the Democrats don't do That not when you've got a baby formula shortage and the Democrats are like, hey, let's, vote on this bill to increase the spending and to the manufacturing for baby formula. And every House Republican, most of whom are out there on TV bashing Biden over this whole thing, still vote fucking no on the bill.
Right.
It passes because the Democrats have a slim majority, but they still vote no because it's all politics. It's all they don't care. The Democrats
they don't care about you as a
they
person.
They don't care about you as a person. They care about you as a voter. They care about whatever. That's why the whole abortion thing is what it is, because they think if you're born into a poor Republican town that you're going to end up indoctrinated into being a conservative because everyone else is, and it's easier to follow the fucking herd. That's that's all they care about. They care about voters down the road.
And
sorry, I'm like,
no, shit. I forgot what I was going to say. Fuck.
I really don't like, I mean, I have friends who are conservative. I don't mind if someone's conservative. I don't mind that at all. But looking at the modern GOP and how they operate and the tactics that they use, they are still.
What do you think about this whole Elon switching sides?
That was all bait and switch, man. That was just like, he was like, because he knew about the article that was going to come out and talk about his alleged exposing of his genitals to the woman.
Did you notice that's not really traveling anywhere?
Because it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. Elon Musk is, what's really happening is the Tesla stock is tanking. Crypto is tanking.
I know because I'm invested.
Yeah. So that's the real issue, that Elon is kind of fucked if things don't kind of even themselves out.
Yeah. People don't know that Elon, especially with Tesla, it doesn't get paid unless they meet their quotas. They meet their quotas and by quarterly, whatever.
Yeah.
He obviously he did get paid, but most of his earnings are liquid.
Well, here's the thing: him putting the bid in for Twitter, I think was a shit post that just kind of went too far.
Can he back out of it?
Not unless it's going to cost him $1 billion breakup fee.
Back out, right?
And so at this point, he's like selling his own Tesla stock in order to be able to afford the Twitter purchase, probably because he's now more or less bullied into it. But down the road, he can actually suppress any negative info about Tesla that would then, end up potentially damaging him. And there's been a whole conversation about how bots have been used to elevate Tesla on Twitter, even though now he's complaining about bots. So it's really, it's really an interesting scenario. At the end of the day, I fucking hate Twitter, but it is what it is.
We use it.
We use it. We do. It's how we communicate and stuff. But all right, guys, I'm like 10 minutes late for my own stream. So I gotta quickly hit the head and then meet me over there. So
all right, everyone. Yeah. So guys, I think Tesla could fix the car issue. I do. I like the idea of the future in electric vehicles, especially the potential of autonomous vehicles. And I do, by the way, want to start a morning podcast. So I want to basically wake up extra early on 2 days a week. So on Tuesday and Thursday, and do a more generalized podcast, something more like talking about what we just talked about. Like general stuff that's happening around us. So I'm in the works of that as well. I'm actually going to start tomorrow morning with my alien coverage, and then I am going to be making a TikTok. I already am on TikTok. The links, all of our links are in the description below. Listen, our podcast episodes, our 3 podcast episodes that we've done with Freddie Mac have done so well. And I can't thank everyone enough for that. Clearly something's gelling and working. So it really is just reassuring us. And I can't thank you guys enough. I really can't. The support for Freddie coming into the show has been tremendous. And, we have so much in store, so much to do. I run ideas by him almost every day. And he's such a cool kid, and he's got a knack for it. So I can't wait to see you guys very soon. I have some videos that I'm going to be working on tonight and tomorrow. But if you want, join me at 8:45 a.m. and we are going to react to Congress's the important parts of the UFO UAP Congress hearing. So that should be really fun. And then I will be dropping a couple videos tomorrow. So stay tuned for those, and make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Guys, please, it helps so much if you become a member and or send a super chat during a live stream. Running these shows is not free. Equipment, all of that stuff, all the programs needed, and to make the production better, we truly do appreciate it. Time is money. So we love you. We thank you. And we'll see you next time.
Oh, wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.